Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at Ancient Enemies, number 3 of 6 by Dan DiDio and Danilo Beyruth from Frank Miller Presents. This epic, sweeping maxi series from Dan DiDio. It's one of my favorite books currently running right now, so I cannot wait to share it with you. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Let's get right into it. I love this cover here. It has Big Sister and oh my gosh, what's his name? Here at the diner. I really do like this Ancient Enemies. I am so behind. It's actually on issue 4. I'm gonna catch up, I promise. But it's very like epic. So like you have to like take a minute to set aside to get into it and absorb all the goodness of it. I really do love this series. The Greater Good. It's like a great modern superhero team book tying into a lot of today's themes, and it just feels right. I love the art on here, and it just looks really good. I am a sucker for a good like traditional superhero team, so this book is like tailor made for me. And if you're like a big fan of like superhero groups, from back in the day, this is definitely a book for you. So the story is basically this superhero group called the Greater Good was formed when after an attack on New York, alien attack that left devastation. They had to sort of rebuild America. So there's this old, it's like a class war kind of thing going on too. So there's this beautiful new Americana guarded by the superheroes, and then there's like the old shitty world, So setting up that like class war and kind of thing happening, and then like I said, this is epic in scope. So it's 6 issues, double-sized issues, and then it's supported by one-shots that sort of share the origins of the team. And I really love it. I think it's such a great companion piece. I just did The Wrath and Sun not too long ago. Look for all these in my playlist. This is definitely one of the best comic books out there. It is so good. Dan DiDio is known as being like the head of DC Comics. His big ticket claim to fame. And he wrote a lot of stuff while he was there. I wasn't super familiar with his writing until this Ancient Enemies came out, and I have to say I'm super impressed. Like what a great writer he is. There's a lot of world building for a cliche, and like just the characters are so like in depth. And let's give credit. Okay, good. Diner and a Monster. I love the title. I love this epic 2-page spread, this creature attacking the bridge. This is like the cinematic, cinescope kind of epic feel the book has brought, and I really enjoy it. Written by Dan DiDio, art by Danilo Beyruth, colors by Alex Sinclair, lettering by Carlos M. Mangal, and assistant editor Leilani Ramos, and editor-in-chief Frank Miller. you know, I mean, let's face it, this is like Frank Miller Presents, but this is like Dan DiDio's universe branch of Frank Miller Presents. They tried to tie in like a character that Frank made up in issue 2, and it was nice and, a nice little, nice try kind of thing. But I feel it's very separate from the rest of the Frank Miller universe, but I don't have a problem with that. Um, I'd be happy to. I'd be fine to see it cross over, or I'd be fine to see it exist upon, onto itself. Um, I love the president giving the speech. It's peppered with a lot of like commentary. About like social things right now, and just like there's big commentary on privacy and this I love when a writer uses like a seemingly like inconsequential character to get a lot of points across. Like this diner waitress, she's like talking about privacy, and obviously that's a huge issue. Privacy is something we've totally given up in the modern age, and that's sad in a way. And this waitress, server, diner, person, whatever, is kind of illustrating that when she says, "I've got nothing to hide, so why would I care who's watching? It's better than the alternative, right?" Like it totally ties into that whole, like I don't care who's watching me. I've got nothing to hide, but giving up your privacy is no joke. Um, I like this big sister character. I like the characters in the book are a lot of fun. They have their own individual costumes, but they're kind of tied together with this G here. And I really like there's a lot of undertones, you know what I mean? Even the name of the super group called the Greater Good. And I feel like that's like a big underlying theme in here because it's like that goes hand in hand with the greater good. It's like, but at what cost? You know what I mean? What do you sacrifice for the greater good? You know, and how far do you go? So there's a lot of things going on. You know, I guess the world is terrified of another alien attack, and you know the president was trying to assure people that, oh, don't worry, this is not necessarily an alien attack. It could be a mutated monster from the radiation in the water from the alien attack. So we're looking into that. But luckily, we have these corrupt superheroes to look over everything. So I mean, it's intrigue. It's great. It's funny too because the superheroes are sort of anti-heroes in a way because they're not especially likable. Although I do like Evergreen. She seems to, you know, obviously be the sort of no, environmentally conscious sort of character. I feel, you know, there's a lot of moving parts here. Dan DiDio comes from a background of television. And as I said when I interviewed him, find that in my playlist if you want. You know, it feels part summer blockbuster, but it also feels like, you know, Netflix original series at the same time. And I'm glad, you know, because I mean, he could have told it in maybe one big story, but the fact that it has so much room to breathe and grow, I just really like how it's all coming together. And hopefully, there's like a big epic Ancient Enemies trade paperback at the end of this that'll collect the series along with the one shots, and I just think it's gonna be great. I don't know how this is gonna end. Like I said, this is issue 3, but issue 4 has come out, and I will try to cover that as quick as possible because after catching up and reading this, I was reminded how much fun this is, how great this book is, and how much I love it, and how much I cannot wait to read the next issue. But then again, I'm also not in a hurry because I really like how this has been sitting in my mind since I read the first issue. Do you know what I mean? And Danilo Beyruth is a great artist. Like he handles it so well. Like this is, you know, definitely post like authority sort of planetary, you know, like ultimates kind of, you know, bringing this cinematic feel to comic books, and this definitely does that. But very like traditional, competent superhero storytelling at the same time, if that makes any sense. Props to Alex Sinclair. Talk to Dan about the, you know, coloring. We share a common disdain for brown, muddy, ugly colors and love bright, beautiful superhero colors. And this is a bright, beautiful superhero comic book. So if this is your kind of thing, it is my kind of thing. Also, I should point out they have like this. He does these little like fun things, like you know, because it's set in the present, but we do get the backstory and the characters. We get their origins. We get stories from the attack on the bridge, and this is like Uber cam footage. So calling it Luber, but which never mind. But I just kind of like that. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of get those little things all throughout here. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows the frustration of like Uber and like, you know, rating and blah, 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 blah. So it's just kind of not done in, like in a slapstick way, but it is kind of funny at the same time. And there's issue 4 that we'll be covering real soon, so don't worry. There's the Wrath and Sun one shot that was amazing. They share the superhero. I just it's a lot. It's hysterical. Oh, and it was drawn by Calafiore, so that was good. And I think he's drawing the next one shot, according to Dan. So, and another odd fit for the Frank Miller Presents, but I mean, this is also kind of it's low key Dan DiDio's vanity project on the side too. Like he loves Svengoolie, and why not have a Svengoolie comic book? I know I'll be picking it up 100%. So look forward to that. I can't recommend this enough. Hopefully, we're getting some great stuff coming from Frank Miller Presents. Ronin 2 is tragically late. Hopefully, Sin City is coming. I would really, I feel like we might be losing our footing a little with Frank Miller Presents. So I hope we get back on track, and I think we will. But I love this line. I think it's great. I'm a big fan of Ancient Enemies. I highly recommend it. You should run out and pick it up. I'm going to cover issue 4 soon. Hit subscribe, hit like, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the coverage of the upcoming Frank Miller Presents comics and other great comics. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will bring you more later.